going on, everybody? Welcome to the Genre of Your Life podcast, a show all about movies, TV, and web live entertainment, and a show hopefully where the host will be part of the Expendables one day. Fingers crossed. I am one of your hosts, Doug Jones. With me, as always, are my amazing co-hosts and two of my closest friends. Starting off with Mr. Nick Johnson. How are you today, my good sir?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good as always. Glad to be here. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I want to thank you again for a fun night on Tuesday, man. You made that screening experience so much fun. Like, I was cracking up the entire time before the movie. We were sitting down in our seats, and then after the movie too, during the movie, man. So thank you for a fun experience at the screening on Tuesday, man.
Thank you, bro. You had me cracking up, man, because there was that one part with Andy Garcia.
We'll bring everything in the review because I was cracking up, but oh my god! But I want to thank you first, man, for a fun night. That was a really good screening experience.
Thank you, bro. I had a great time too. Thank you.
Last but not least, straight out of Chicago, Chi-Town himself is Mr. Joel Kindlin. How are you today, my good sir?
Yo. I'm doing all right. You know, excited to be back. We did not. I forgot to have us say that we weren't going to have an episode last week on our Instagram, like I promised our followers a little while ago. So I definitely got to remember that for next time. But yeah, no, it's good to be back and excited to talk about, you know, everything. Hear y'all's perspective on Expendables.
Well, we can't wait. We can't wait to share it with you, Joe, and to our audience, man, because we have a lot to say. Because again, like I said, man, what a time Nick and I had on Tuesday. But thank you all for listening. Thank you all for joining for your first time. Welcome to the show. As always, guys, you can find the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and we have a full audio show on our YouTube page, youtube.com/Midway New Productions. You know, while you're there on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform, hit that follow button, hit that review button. Leave a rating, helps us out so much. You know, the part of, you know, hitting us hitting 10K over the summer was a huge milestone. Thank you all. But what means a lot to us too is leaving a review, you know, saying, oh, we love the show, or you don't like the show, either or in the middle. Hey, we get it. It's criticism. We'll take it. But leaving a review, leaving a rating will help us out so much and the show out so much. So always thank you guys as always for your support. It means the world to us. And thank you, Joe, for bringing that up last week. Actually, you know, before I left for East for my cousin's wedding, I put out a quick, you know, audio newsletter for our fans, like kind of where we are with the show. We're almost a year mark with the show. Believe it or not, come November, which is crazy. But you're right. I'll do definitely a better job of kind of posting like, hey, Ron, again, no show this week, but I did put out a little bit of like a 20-minute audio newsletter of like thanking, you know, our listeners and our fans and everyone's been listening so far. And we've had a great time making the show. Hope you're enjoying the show every week. But as always, guys, thank you so much for your support. It means the world to us. But yeah, guys. But, you know, again, I think before we get into our topics tonight, I mean, we're still kind of in the limbo right now of like nothing really coming out except for the Creator next week. And I want to say now, like, it's going to be like a weird October because I think maybe except for The Exorcist too, like nothing's coming out. But, you know, we're in that kind of like the weird fall limbo because of the strike as well. I heard a rumor about they were meeting the guild today about something, you know, fingers crossed things finally get, you know, figured out. People are getting, you know, paid fairly. But yeah, I mean, anyway, Joe, you want before we do our Expendables review, you actually have a review from a horror fan, I believe, right? You want to do that first?
Oh, yes, I do. Give me one sec.
Because again, like I said, me and Nick have a lot to talk about regarding it.
Yes.
Sure fucking do, bro.
So, my love interest, woman I'm currently talking to, is a giant horror movie fan. She loves horror movies in general. I feel like we have been lacking on horror movie content for the horror movie fans, and I feel like we've been, you know, sort of, neglecting them. So I asked her to send me a little review of The Nun 2, just so, you know, so we can, you know, let, you know, our horror movie fans, you know, feel included. So she did really good with this review. This is all her words. I'm gonna skip one little thing though. So I feel like it would be kind of spoilers, but it's here we go. These are her words. The Nun 2. I follow the Conjuring universe for a long time. It's been my favorite universe for a while now, so my attention to detail for this set of movies is crazy. Michael Chavez did an amazing job as a director, and I'm glad James Wan still is woven into the universe, even if it has a producer. I'm a bit proud of Michael for this installment because Lorna wasn't too great, and even the Last Conjuring wasn't. Last Conjuring was good, but not as great as I expected it to be. For starters, one thing I think bought over by James Wan was the color scheme. The color scheme remained consistent, which I love, and think it adds to the vibe of the whole movie. It's dark and monotone, which adds to suspense. You can't see certain scares until it's too late, which works in this movie's favor. Valak, the demon played by Bonnie Aarons, appears in the darkest corners, always sending shivers and leaving you feeling uncomfortable. They really captured Valak's violent nature in this particular movie as opposed to the other movies and gave her more leeway to be ungodly and ruthless. I was a bit nervous as to how they would tie this one into the universe because I didn't think it was more they could do with her, but I couldn't be more wrong. Besides them giving her an omnibus backstory, which means a lot to the fans of the universe since we didn't know much about her in The Conjuring 2 and the first Nun, they tied her and Sister Irene, played by, I'm gonna say this name, sorry if I fucked this up, Thaisa Farmiga?
Aisa Farmiga.
Farmiga, thank you. Farmiga, sister of Vera Farmiga, who plays Lorraine Warren in The Conjurings and Annabelle Comes Home, together, which made me very happy. I won't spoil what connects them, but it was very cool. I think most horror franchises drop the ball when they make so many movies and lose connection between the movies/characters. Sometimes it seems forced and unnatural, whilst in this movie, the connection between Sister Irene, Valak, and even Frenchie, who is one to behold and feels like it was meant to be. I mean, if you watch the universe, we have been introduced to Frenchie, played by Jonas. I'm gonna fuck this name up too. Bloquet, whose name in the movie is also Maurice. Back during the first Conjuring, when they explained why Lorraine went into a depression from an exorcism they performed on a French farmer who went mad and murdered his wife one day. From that point, the story of him and Valak began without us knowing, and we have been dropped hints on who he was and how his story even mattered. Then leave it to James and Michael to continue to take us on a journey that finally led to all the pieces being tied together with this gem. So big thumbs up for keeping my attention span intact. Besides the beautiful way the movie ties into the universe as a whole, I was thoroughly pleased with the jump scares. Sometimes movies, especially horror movies, have a way of revealing the best jump scares during the preview, which makes them less entertaining when you're watching in real time or in general. The scares are easily predictable. One thing Valak does and the director accomplished was making the scares unpredictable. Valak's sheer acts of violence alone is enough to make your skin crawl, especially since children aren't off limits. But she moves with the darkness, and the tricks she plays makes every corner you turn or any still frame absolutely terrifying. I can sense when most scares will happen, but I struggled with this movie because you just never know. When I prepare myself, nothing happened, and when I least expected it, too much happened, in a good way. I also find that horror movies sometimes have the same soundtracks, which sometimes makes sense because certain notes and keys, when played together, can incite fear and create a sense of suspense/danger. but the sounds played throughout this movie set themselves apart while still bringing fear to your seat. Church sounds, prayers, bells are all already scary in horror films, but the usage of them in The Nun 2 brings a sense of dread because you just know whatever is about to happen is good. You know Valak is creeping around the corner, but you never know what form she will take or what trick she is next. You will you see her a manifestation of the person's fear or Frenchie? All in all, between the color scheme, story connection, soundtracks, and scares, this movie exceeded my expectation. I don't want to ruin too much for people who want to see, but boy was I happy to see. I'm gonna skip that. Because I'm in love with the universe, I like to give two different reviews, one biased and one unbiased. One biased because I'm a die-hard fan, but an unbiased one since horror isn't everyone's cup of tea and may see things differently. For the lovers of the universe who like me think they can do no wrong, I give the movie a 9 out of 10. I watch it over and over, enjoy every time, and if you love the whole series, you'll love this new edition. To the people who don't know much about Universe and may watch the movie on their own, as a collection, I would rate it 7.5 out of 10. The average thrill seeker will enjoy the movie, but some themes may be repetitive, and although this movie puts said themes together beautifully, it may not stick out too much it might not stick out too much to you. All in all, I love the movie, and I can feel a third installment coming. We still have unanswered questions, and I think all of the fans want to know exactly what happens to Frenchie. Gonna skip that. Just to add, I watched these movies from a different POV. Yes, I want to be scared by the end, but I love the journey. The journey scary movies take me on. The heart beating rapidly, the anxious feeling uneasy, and checking dark corners differently. But most importantly, the fight and determination of every lead in a horror movie. Every horror story is different, and I see them for what they are individually, not the main themes as a whole. I love when I can't figure out an ending and got all that with Valak. If you haven't seen The Nun 2, watch it. As a matter of fact, see them all in chronological order. You'll appreciate it more, I promise. But as a word of advice, sleep with the light on and pray to whoever to watch over you at night. And that's it. There you go. That is the review.
Nice. That honestly
Hell yeah. That's what's
sounds
up.
better. Sounds better than the first one. I saw that on a date. And I fell asleep. And the girl was like, "You fell asleep?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And I never saw her again.
We're starting to be like our old man.
I never saw her again.
Asleep in every movie.
Dude, I literally, and I remember I told Nick, and you're like, I think Nick, you were like, "Oh, that shit was whack."
Bro, The Nun was fucking garbage.
I was
Yeah, it
I
sounds
I
like
could
a
not get
lot of
behind
people
that
did
movie.
not. I feel like a lot of people did not like it, but people are diehard fans of certain universes
Yeah,
since it
that
does have to tie
franchise,
in with
yeah.
The
Yeah, that's true,
Conjuring
you
and
know.
everything. So
Yeah, you
like
like
she
what you
said,
like.
she gave a biased one and then a non-biased one. So like for us, we would think probably around a 7 or a 6. But for
Mhm.
her, she truly does love the universe and all Conjuring movies. She saw them all, and Nun and all the other ones. She saw them all. She gave it a 9 out of 10. And the way she, described everything, I feel like, that's a good way to look at it. I think she looks at it a different way from us, who are not horror movie fans, but more just movie fans in general.
That's true. I
Say
can
that.
respect that.
I would say I'm becoming more of a horror movie fan. I think Nick and I have definitely talked about a lot more horror movies in person recently than I think maybe before. But nah, I think I'm growing more to the genre because it's very innovative to a degree. I mean, yeah, there's stuff like Conjuring universe and stuff like Insidious. It's kind of just been like, I mean, they still make money, so I can't talk shit. But at the same time, like,
Right.
I love seeing like innovative stuff like Barbarian, and I wasn't a big fan of Smile, but Smile was still innovative to a degree. And again, look at Nick's short film that he made, like innovative as fuck because it's you. I think you can do a lot in the horror genre than you probably could because again, I think again, it's also a genre that keeps bringing people back to
Yeah.
the theater, believe it or not. I mean, that and superhero movies have been the main two kind of like bringing it back to the theaters. And like I said, I kind of gave up on Insidious a while ago, but the one came out over the summer, made so much money. The movie Nun 2 that Gia just reviewed, obviously made a lot of money too. So they're still making money despite like
Yeah.
them being in a franchise for so long. I
Right.
do love seeing get Jordan Peele for example too. Jordan Peele was doing innovative stuff like
Yeah.
Us, Nope,
He
and Get
he
Out.
he did he did it very much so differently
Yeah, but I love
for a
that.
lot of his films, and yeah. But what I'm saying is we don't see it as like, I feel like, her who grew up on horror movies. Like I feel like horror movie
Oh, I
fans
see
who
what you
grew
mean.
up on like older, like the old horror movies from like 90s and before to even 2000s view horror, the genre of horror differently than we do, you know?
Oh yeah,
Like,
definitely.
because I watched Halloween with you. I've seen like Us, Nope, and Get Out, and just like other films. I don't hate it as much. I'm able to watch some of these films. Like I watched what the fuck is that weird clown one? Terrifier. I watched the first one.
Oh, fuck.
I didn't finish that one. That one, once they
Uh,
got to the body sawing part, that it was too much for my stomach. I said nope. But
uh,
I'm able to watch horror movies more often and stuff. But I feel like, because I didn't grow up on this and didn't have the same love for it, I don't see it the same way that a lot of these, people who did, grow up watching horror movies and loved it, like see it as, I see it, I feel like we see it differently than they do, and that's, not a problem, but like, you know what I mean?
yeah, I hear you. No, yeah, it's a different perspective from different genres and different people. Nick, what's that one you told me about? You and Jake told me about. It was like very controversial
Ooh,
this year or last year. Was
ooh,
it Skinamarink?
Skinamarink. Yeah,
Yes,
that's
yes.
that's
Thank
my
you,
number
thank
one
you.
horror movie of
Oh
all
yeah, I was
time,
That's
bro.
right.
hearing
I still
about
haven't
that on
watched that yet.
YouTube all over the place.
Bro, oh that movie changed my life, man. I've never seen anything like it. And
I gotta watch
apparently
it.
it's like you're either gonna love it or you hate it, or you're gonna hate it. And I loved it. So if
It's
you guys watch it, I hope you guys
I
like
gotta
it too.
watch it. It's on Hulu. Like I gotta watch it again because it was a Shutter original. It's when Shutter was
Mhm.
doing some like really innovative stuff. I gotta watch it. I gotta watch it because I know you and Jake were talking really highly about it, and I was like, all right,
That's
stop fucking around and watch this movie.
like, man, you want to talk about a creative, innovative movie? That's the one right there.
I give it, man. Again, yeah, I give it props. That genre seems to be really just getting staying innovative because I think you can do a lot with that because you can feed off people's nightmares and stuff. And again, you can also do franchise stuff like It and Halloween. Exorcist coming out next month, as well as uh whatever Five Nights at Freddy's, whatever's coming out next month too. So you can definitely play off like IP. But again, I do like sitting down in like a theater with the audience and watching a horror movie because like a barbarian or like a Smile because you don't know what to expect because when you see stuff like Halloween and it stuff like that or any kind of Stephen King adaptation, you kind of know what you're in store for, or Conjuring. But I do feel like it's fun to see something kind of original and fresh. So I give it props. Horror still one of the leading genre box office champs. So love to see it. Well, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Gia, for that review. Again, hope our horror fans appreciated that. Hopefully, The Nun 2 has been. Hopefully, horror fans have been enjoying that movie as much as um, other Conjuring installments. I would say. Um,
Hmm.
but second review of this evening, besides The Nun, is a movie called Expendables 4. If you don't know this movie or not, this is the fourth installment in the Expendables trilogy, a franchise that seems to be kind of dying or getting older as their stars, unfortunately.
That's
um,
ironic because everyone was old in the first one.
bro, I know. And what was the thing the guy said at the beginning of the movie? Was the tagline? Oh, they'll be dead when whatever
Oh,
they'll die.
they'll die when they're dead. It's like,
Thank you.
bro, they're kind
You and
of
I
they
laughed
started
at
off like on their way out anyway. So
bro. That literally made like a lot of people in the audience laugh, and I was like, oh, okay. We're in for a treat. But before the movie review, actually, I want to talk about the experience itself because, man, I'll tell you, man, Nick and I had quite the experience because we got there. It was a pretty big crowd, and we go to the people. Hey, okay, we're press. We're part of the press for the screening. And she goes, yeah, the line's back there. And me and Nick both looked, and we were like, oh no, we're critics. We're part of the press. And she goes, oh, why didn't you say that? And I'm like, I did. And I was like, no.
That must be nice.
And I was like, I'll do it.
Can't relate.
Nice. But so we're looking for. I'm talking to Nick. We're looking for our rep. Looking for like people to check in with, and like we go to the theater too, whatever. And there's a huge line. And usually that when Nick and I go on these screenings, usually like we can just walk right in or like not wait in line. We wait for the rep. We check with the clipboard. We check in. We're good to go. Sit with the critics. And we get to the front, and this guy was like, like pointing back to the line. And I said, oh no, it's cool. We're press. We're critics. And the guy goes, yeah, the line goes back there. And I couldn't really see like where to go. So I'm like, okay, I guess this is the line. But the guy was kind of like hostile about it, and I was like, all right, man, like don't be the dick about it. And we get on talking about it, and
he really wanted to see that movie, man.
Yeah, dude, for what? I'm like, all I said was we're pressed, and the guy was like back at the line, and I'm like, all right, dude, like chill.
Hey, listen, Doug, for real, I'm gonna tell it to you like this, man. Sometimes people just don't recognize a game when they see it.
Yeah, true. We walk in, bro. Critics, because
here's the thing: we walked in like top dogs, right? And it was a bunch of people in line, man. They saw us and they just immediately started hating on us.
Sure, they hate us because they ain't us.
That's a fact, man. They saw what we had and they became envious because they did not have what we have. You feel me? They got jealous. They wanted us to go to the back of the line.
Yeah, I know, and
but the line was never for us. It was for them.
We make the line.
You stand in line. We skip line.
It's true, dude. I like that. You know what? Next screening we go to as press, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. We walk into the other line. We're gonna do that. I swear.
I hate you both. Yeah. Because I'm the one in line. So I can't. So I see their point of view. Fuck yourselves. That's what I have to say.
Honestly, Joe, the grass is definitely greener on the other side. I will definitely tell you.
Oh yeah, it fucking
damn. I can't believe you just said that. Nah, but that's kind of real though. It's nice over here.
It's nice over there, man.
It's nice over there, yeah. So I guess I'm just a peasant in line, living in dirt.
Come on, scrub. No, one day, Joe. One day. Well, again,
one day.
Well, some people, I won't say who, still don't think we're a real podcast, unfortunately. But that's a topic for another episode. Gatekeeping. Gatekeeping. Fucking gatekeeping. But anyways, so we walk in and then we talk to our rep, who I love Frost Communication so much. They're just the best. And she's so sweet. She goes, guys, you're critics. You don't have to stay in line. And I was like, yeah, she's fucking right. I'm like, why are we staying in line for it? And she was very sweet about it too. And I was like, man, fuck that one guy that literally said, back of the line. And I was like, man, you can kiss my ass for that. Yeah, I was like, I mean, we didn't miss anything, but it was still like we still had to wait in line, and we're like, we could just walk right in the theater and check in because we're press. But needless to say, we sit down in the theater, and like I said, I knew something was up with this movie because when for our listeners too, so again for this kind of inside baseball is that when you see a movie and if you're part of the press, I think in the fan screens that we've been to too, they always say hold your social media reaction or embargo whatever until a certain time because the studios have certain dates to generate buzz, they don't want things buzzing too quickly sometimes. I mean, unless you're in a festival like a film fest like South by Southwest or Venice or TIFF, whatever, then you can talk. It's free game. But sometimes when there's embargoes that that you gotta wait to post your review and post your reaction, obviously. So when I saw our email for our passes and it was like hold your review till today at 3, and I was like, because I know from growing up, reading Rotten Tomatoes, reading the Tribune, whatever, reading all that kind of stuff. When I didn't see a movie, when I see a review for a movie until day of or after it comes out, it's not a good sign. And I was like, I was to Nick. I was like, I don't know about this one, man. Hopefully it's gonna be good, but I don't know. The embargo doesn't lift. But anyway, this is the 4th movie in the franchise. This is kind of like a new blood, new team in a way. You're bringing back Rennie Kortcher, you're bringing back Dolph Lundgren, Statham, and Stallone. But now you got Tony Jaa, you got 50 Cent, 50. You got Megan Fox. Got a lot of new blood. As Nick mentioned, on Tuesday, there's a lot of new blood in the last one as well. But this was kind of like definitely a smaller group, and now it's kind of like, it's we'll do a non-spoiler. We'll do a spoiler review. We'll do non-spoiler first and spoiler at the end. So we'll have our veggies first and dessert afterwards. But this was kind of just like basically, it's 10 years. It's been 10 years since the last one. And now they're being called for another mission, basically with a new blood, and that's all I can. That's kind of the plot, basically. But Nick, I'm gonna have you review the movie first because I think you were definitely more positive than I am. So, all in all, go ahead.
No, so it was, it was a fun watch, but it was very corny. Like that's why I gave it like a 6.8, or it was like 6.8 to 7.1. Like it was. It's just the dialogue for me, man. Like it's kind of tongue in cheek. Like I can chuckle at it, but it's more often than not pretty corny. The acting isn't always the best. Some of the there was like Megan Fox's character. They put her in a certain type of role in the movie, but I wasn't really buying it. Some of the jokes didn't totally land for me, but at the same time, like the action was fun. It was fun watching these characters again, because I remember when the first movie came out, and like when did that movie come out? Like 2010, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Dang, yeah. So I was like, I was a kid basically, and it just seemed so cool, and it was like, it's kind of like, okay, I'm kind of feeling a little bit nostalgic for it, but like it was a fun movie, but a very corny movie.
Yeah. It's funny. We talked to our friend Big Ben, who also was a show that I recommend because he's a super nice dude, one of the critics as well, very very nice dude. And then we took from the movie afterwards. We were talking about like, oh yeah, like, and he was like, "What'd you expect?" It was really corny, and I was like, "No, well, no, we know, but this was like a new level of camp." And you mentioned it too, of like during our out-of-theater reaction, you were saying like most of these movies, the dialogue is very campy, and I haven't rewatched Expendables 2 like maybe 2 days ago, and I was like, oh shit, Nick was right. It's pretty consistent that that these movies, how cheesy these dialogue is, but with that said, the dialogue in this is atrocious. Like it's really bad, and there's time again. Since my other reaction too, since my review. This is not a good movie. This is not a good movie. This is not a good movie. I will 100% say that. With that said, I still had fun with thanks to you being there with me, Nick. But like, I was never bored. I was never like, oh my god, this is atrocious. But this is not a good movie. This is not a good movie again. But I still had fun with it for what it was. I'll do some pros first, actually. So listen, I'm glad they went back with the R rating. I don't know why they went with a PG-13 rating for the last one, especially because the first two were successful both, but they financially and critic-wise for the most part. The third one, PG-13, I think me and Joseph was in high school. We were like, why are they watering this down? This is a good franchise. Why are you gonna water down with PG-13? And
the second and third one together.
We definitely did. And you and I like two. Two was fun with Chuck Norris kind of being Chuck Norris and Jean-Claude Van Damme and saying,
Chuck Norris is the GOAT. Chuck Norris is the GOAT,
dude.
This man counted to infinity twice. That's crazy,
bro.
That's insane.
Wasn't Terry Crews a part of this as well?
He was OG. Yeah, he was the OG. He was on the OG team. Yeah, he was the OG team. Yeah. Jet Li was probably the OG team.
Yeah,
but Dolph Lundgren's been there.
That man has been going through some things.
And Jet Li.
Yeah.
Damn, what's going on?
Like health wise, he hasn't been the greatest, but he's surviving. I don't think we'll see him in action movies.
That's a shame. Yeah. I liked him in the first two a lot. I mean, he's a small role in the second one, but I thought he cool addition to the team. But yeah, I'm glad I went back with the R rating. Again, breaks out violence. It's when you water something down like that, it makes no sense to me personally. The big standouts for me were definitely Tony Jaa and Jason Statham, like their scenes together and their kind of action scenes, because they're both like badass. They're both like really like 100% certified action heroes, like from like us growing up, even before we kind of like into those movies. So that really was kind of cool seeing them together. But again, a lot of their dialogue was very cheesy too. And like, again, I'll say for the spoiler part of the review, but there's sometimes you're just kind of like, oh come on, like that's so predictable. Like really, like
Yeah.
it's too obvious. You know what I'm saying, Nick? It was too obvious. It was like, okay, sure, let's go with
Mm-hmm.
that. Again, this is kind of one of my pros as well. You said too, Nick. Like, it's funny, but it's not supposed to be funny. Like we're laughing at certain things because it's unintentionally funny, and we're kind of making again. We're laughing with it. We're not laughing at it. No, we're laughing at it, not laughing with it. And we're
Yeah, it's
like,
like whenever they're trying to be funny, it didn't really land for me. But then some of the other stuff where it seemed like they were trying to take it serious or make it really, really
right,
cool, it was like that. I was kind of laughing at that, or just like them trying to sound kind of like clever or cool. It's like it kind of makes me wonder because all of the movies have that same type of dialogue. Like, are they purposefully trying to be kind of tongue in cheek and corny
right,
like that?
right,
Because they all have like the same kind of flavored dialogue. You feel me? So maybe it's intentional. And if it's
right.
intentional, then hey, kudos, because I mean, shit, you fooled me.
Right. And you went to your point too, Nick. I think if a movie like I think the first two embraced what they were, like they embraced for what they were, or like look at Fast and Furious, they embraced for what they were at times too. I still
Hmm.
think they are to a degree, or stuff like 21 Jump Street, those kind of movies like that. Like they embraced the silliness of it all, and they embraced the goofiness of it all, and I truly felt this time, this one especially, that they were trying to like be like, oh, this is serious shit, and we're like, no, no, don't try that. Sit your ass down. Don't try that shit here. Like, 'cause we know you know what you are too. Or you know what you're trying to do. Don't try to be something like, oh, we're trying to be like, artsy stuff like that. No, 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 no. You know what you are. Embrace for what it is. You're a semi-successful franchise for what you are. Keep doing what you were doing that was working before, not this kind of like serious shit because it ain't gonna work. All I'm gonna say. With my cons now, I would say everything else is what I put down.
Yeah.
Everything else. It just to me, like again, stuff for was it Christmas and Barney, which is played by Statham and Stallone. I don't know anyone's name. I knew 50 Cent, Andy Garcia, Megan Fox,
Hmm.
Dolph Lundgren, Randy Couture, and I'm like Tony Jaa. I'm like that's it. To me, I'm like I have no connection to these characters whatsoever. I didn't feel like I only feel emotionally invested to like how I was with the first two, and I would say even more invested in the third one than this one. When we saw Wesley Snipes coming back, and that whole kind of like the new blood or whatever. I felt again not a fan of the third one, but I felt more invested in that story than I did with this one. That's saying something too. Um,
Yeah, it kind of seems like it relies a bit much on like, hey, look who we got to be in this movie,
yes,
rather
yes,
than like the characters. Like the main characters are basically at this point just Stallone and Statham. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like we connect to them the most because we've been watching them for up to 4 movies at this point. But it's like everyone else is just like, oh, check it out, we got 50 Cent. Oh, check it out, we got Megan Fox. Oh, check it out, we got Tony Jaa. Like, but Tony Jaa did kill it though. But it seems kind of like, it's
didn't
like
work.
a little bit of like style over substance sometimes.
Yes. And you took my note right out of my mouth. Literally, it said style over substance. And what you said too, and after the movie too, you said Megan Fox character is introduced as this typical as this one way, and
Hmm.
it is never seen again throughout the entire
Yeah,
movie.
yeah. Her introduction was one way, but then like you said, the rest of the movie she was just basically a completely
Yeah,
different character. So it was like I don't know if something got like rewrote or cut out or something like that, but it was a bit jarring.
it literally makes no sense. You're like, why would you set her up as this way? Then the rest of the movie, she doesn't act like that way in the slightest ever again. And
Hmm.
we were like, it's kind of confusing, but I digress. But I think to me, this breaks my heart saying this. I think this era of movies have like should be retired, or it's felt like a very like early like, 90s, early 2000s kind of 2000s kind of movie where like that era of movies are kind of gone. Like we see stuff now like Bullet Train, Atomic Blonde, John Wick, stuff like that, where it's action and violence, but it's not like the quick cuts, the I'll get him next time kind of like stuff. It's that era of blockbusters seems to be kind of like just non-existent anymore. Again, maybe on streaming, maybe on stuff like that, but theatrically speaking, not so much anymore. Again, I love Stallone, I love
Hmm.
Statham, but like to me, I think they're better off with an ensemble. I think Statham, especially stuff like Fast or any kind of Guy Ritchie movie like Snatch, whatever. they work best in there, or Stallone works, best with so like Michael B. Jordan, obviously, or again, like how the first two Expendables were, like you can work off people like that. As a leading man, I don't think they think it's still a star power, but not as much as they used to back in the day. But I do think this era of movies have kind of come to an end, or should be retired, because right now the Rotten Tomatoes is like 10%, unfortunately. Which yeah, I would, yeah, I wouldn't say it's atrocious, but I can see where they're coming from to a degree. But yeah, there's no star power. And what really kind of threw me off too, again, the editing. The editing is very weird at the beginning of the movie too. Like it shows kind of like the action right away, and then it cuts to like Stallone, and then it cuts back to like the same like opening scene. Like how much time has passed since then? Because like when we're seeing Stallone in the game, we're seeing like it's been days. You cut back to like the same opening scene. It's only been like an hour or like 30 minutes. You're like, the time on this is weird.
That was weird. Like I wonder why they didn't just show like the full sequence and then like the next full sequence. Like they cut it back like it was happening at the same time as some shit. I don't know.
That was weird. It was, to me, I'm noticing, I was like, this is some weird editing, but it makes no sense. I think what you and I said too at the out of theater reaction too is that, oh no, before that was like, this to us kind of felt like this is them getting a paycheck. Like it's them getting a paycheck. This time, like,
Let me tell you something. Michael Caine had this quote about Jaws 2. And I feel it relates to this movie a little bit. And he said, someone's like, hey, so, Michael Caine, what did you think about Jaws 2? He said, I'm not going to do the accent, but he said, I didn't see Jaws 2, but I saw the house that Jaws 2 bought. I was like, oh man, that's a paycheck right there, man. Sometimes like that's for real, man. A win is a win.
A win is a win. So you were saying though?
Who, me?
Yeah, you're saying sometimes.
Oh no, yeah. Sometimes it just seems like actors are in a movie just kind of like for either just like mostly for the money, you know what I mean? It's like, and it kind of felt like that a little bit in this movie sometimes. It's like it didn't feel like y'all really cared that much. Like it was kind of a tired energy sometimes, man.
It felt like I think Stallone, before we do a spoiler, I think Stallone was kind of checked out with this one, especially. I really think Statham was trying his best.
This one.
Yeah, you definitely know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Statham was trying his best. I really think he was trying his best. But at the same time, like he was trying to like, save this movie for what it was. But at the same time, it was like, to me, since at the reaction too, I was saying that this felt kind of like him doing another mechanic movie, basically. This felt like him doing another kind of like one of those, this kind of like action, Blitz or Safe or whatever he was doing, or Parker, stuff like that. He was kind of doing those kind of like low budget action movies that he's a lead in, because he's a great action star. He's very cares. He's a lot of charm. He's very charming. He's very he's very handsome. So this to me kind of felt like, hey, we had an idea for another mechanic movie. Let's put another Expendables movie, kind of mish them together. And again, because this is his movie, like he's literally in this movie for like majority of it, as well, especially like him on a boat for like majority of the movie as well. Like once into that boat, it stays up on a boat basically the entire movie. This is him on a boat for sure. So that's why I felt, like I said, there was no chemistry between the new team. Because back even the first two, or even the third one for a degree, I felt the chemistry between Stallone and Statham and the crew, even with Wesley Snipes, even with Chuck Norris or Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis. I felt the chemistry. I felt like, okay, listen, they're all action stars, but they're working together as a team. Kind of like I felt like an older A-team at times. So there was no chemistry between Megan Fox or that one girl or Korcher or Lundgren or 50 Cent. 50 Cent, who I love as a rapper and as a personality sometimes, he was there kind of like, why am I here? Like literally, why am I here? This is another paycheck for me too. This is me going on tour so I can pay for like my mortgage or whatever, or pay for my taxes. Because like he literally was there all the time like saying what? And then when they used his own song, I was just like, they ran out of ideas. That
was confusing to me, because I'm like, so is there like an alternate 50 Cent in this Expendables universe or what?
He was playing himself. Like he was playing himself. Let's be real. He was playing himself. I love 50 Cent. My man was playing him like this man was playing himself 100%. He goes, I'm coming this movie and I'm playing myself and I'm playing one of my songs. Done.
He said, I can only film for 2 days though, so we're gonna have to make it work.
Right.
Yeah, we can make it work. 50 Cent. Say less.
This literally paid for his mortgage, probably 100%. 100%. Like I said, really cheesy dialogue, really cliche, like one-liners. There's a line, again, there's not a spoiler, but like there's a line that made me laugh so much. Me and Nick were like, what the hell? Where 50 Cent, man, hey man, this ain't shit. And Andy Garcia literally says, shit on this.
Yeah, I was like, bro, who wrote this, man?
I laugh. I like made an exchange with each other. We started laughing even more. We were like, or 50 Cent goes, yeah, man, Stitches get stitches. And Andy Garcia goes, that's correct. They get stitches.
I was like, oh man, oh god. It kind of seemed like, did y'all just kind of like scribble down the first draft and then just film that, like dialogue wise? Because I'm like, are we still saying that right now, bro?
That's what it felt like. This was their first draft, final draft, and shooting script all in one. This is literally they had one writer's room at the offices. All right, guys, we're gonna go. We're shooting next week. We'll see you there. This is literally how it felt like to me. 100%, 100%. And I don't know what went wrong or what happened, but like I said, this felt like this paid off people's mortgages, their car payments, their kids' tuition, their college tuition, maybe their loans. Because, man, there was some dialogue that really made me go, like, what the hell? Like, who approved this? And again, I thought we were past this, 2023. I thought we were past this era of stuff. Really bad CGI. The CGI, like, right when the movie begins, I was like, oh, it's one of those kind of CGIs. It's kind of like, all right, sure. A lot of green screen, so much green screen, you can tell. The story to me is also very predictable. I both said this before, during the movie and after the movie, predictable stuff. It felt like it kind of ripped off other movies that it's done before, or even themselves sometime. Or like, oh, like it's this kind of plot all over again. I gotta stop this thing again. Or other action movies that have been done like 1,000 times. So there's no kind of innovation there whatsoever. Here's what I said too. This felt like a downgrade for sure. It felt like a VOD movie too, like one of those kind of like bad Bruce Willis movies. Again, I don't want to hate on Bruce Willis. He's going through something right now with his health, but Bruce Willis really has had a strain of just Nicolas Cage too had a really strain of like really bad VOD movies. You're just like, wow, like this was definitely made for like to pay off my taxes or whatever, or my mortgage.
Nick Cage is coming back up though. He's coming back up. I just seen a A24 trailer with him, and I love me some A24.
I cannot wait for that movie. That movie looks fucking awesome. That's my most hyped movie of the year now. I cannot wait for that. I'm so hyped for that movie. But you're right. Nicolas Cage is kind of coming out of that really bad era of like VOD movies. They're like, bro, what are you doing? But this to me felt like one of those like really bad Bruce Willis VOD movies that were kind of like, okay, you know what? We made a movie. You get paid for it. It's going right to VOD. It's gonna be on Redbox tomorrow. It is what it is. You watch it there. Watch it on Vudu or Tubi for all we care. Like, just do it there. But this to me, how I felt with the entire movie. This to me felt like people who graduated high school, who never left high school, like who never left their town. They're still hanging out with high schoolers. They're still hanging out at the same place they worked at. They're probably still working in the same place they worked at in high school. They're still hanging out in the same spots, And Joel and I know a lot of people like that till this day. To this very day, we know people like that. It's like you never moved on from high school. Like you peaked in high school. Is this what it felt like? This movie was. You were like the star. You were the captain of the basketball team, captain of the varsity football team. You were prom king. We're like you were the shit in high school. But what did you do after high school? Nothing. And this to me, again, beside the new blood, whatever, but Randy Couture, Dolph Lundgren, Stallone, and Statham to a degree, this felt like they never moved on. Like, we'll be Expendables for life. Dog, it's been 10 years. It's time to move on. Y'all have other franchises. Y'all can retire this one. Lay it to rest. And that's what I can say about this movie through and through. I'm giving this right now, I'll give this right now me a 3 or 4 out of 10. Because, again, I was never bored. I wasn't like, oh my God, I want to walk out. Because people did walk out. I saw people were walking out like mid-movie. I was like, damn, that's oof. I haven't seen that in a while. But to me, there was nothing new that could redeem it for me. And the only good thing I would say too is the Tony Jaa, Statham, kind of like their scenes together, and you and I laughing our asses off because of how funny it was, not how funny it should be, but how funny it was that we found it basically. So I'm giving that 3 out of 3. Like 3 out of 10. I would definitely wait for this. If you're a diehard fan of this franchise, I guess go see it. I'll go see it at a dollar cinema or discount Tuesday at our earlier matinee. But honestly, you can wait till it comes on streaming like Netflix or whatever, or Redbox. You still have a Redbox out there. But to me, this was a big kind of like, yeah, I'm over this franchise, but love Stallone, love Statham. But man, this was a big kind of just like whatever kind of movie. Going into spoilers now. Okay, again, for our listeners too, if you're worried about spoilers, you want to skip this part, I understand. We're gonna do a quick spoiler chat between Nick and I, and and I'll say when it's over, you come back to the show. You won't mute us for now or pause it for now. We get it. Nick, I think the thing that really made me laugh so much, you know what it is too. You did better than I did too. Was when they're captured on that boat, and the guy holds a fake gun to the guy's head, Andy Garcia's head, and what does he go? What does he go, Nick? You do better than I do.
I can't do it tonight. My throat's a little rough right now.
One of the henchmen holds a gun, and Joe, you're still listening to us. Like, literally, a henchman holds a gun to Andy Garcia's head, right? And Andy Garcia goes, It was so out of pocket. I laughed so hard.
It was bizarre. It was like, what was the direction here?
Literally, like, no one's reacting. Literally, the gun goes to the head. He goes, and I laughed so hard that I couldn't stop laughing for like 20 minutes. I kept thinking about it, and I kept laughing. I think the guy next to me was annoyed at first. They started laughing with me because how stupid that was. But I laughed.
Nah, Doug was fucking cracking up, bro. Dude, oh my gosh.
On the way home too, Nick, like, when you said that after the reaction, you said there were things that were intentionally funny. I thought of that and I laughed in the video.
Yeah, because it was like, was he trying to be like really intense? But it just came across as kind of weird. And it's weird because he's a good, like, Andy Garcia is a good actor.
Oh, dude.
But it was like when I saw him in this movie, I was like, oh shit, okay. Yeah, someone needs a paycheck real quick. He's just trying to pass the time.
And since we're in spoiler territory, we knew right away he was a bad guy. Like, we knew right away he was a bad guy. There was no surprise whatsoever. Like, when they revealed he was a bad guy, you and I were like, surprise, surprise. We were like, yeah, no shit, he's the villain. Like, no shit.
Like, because it also the guy that played, I forget his name, but the man who played Will Smith's son in Bad Boys 3.
Oh yeah, what was he doing there?
Yeah, there was a point I was like, it's either him or it's Andy Garcia, because Andy Garcia, I can't remember the last time I've seen him as the good guy in anything, and it's like you just randomly show up in some Expendables movie and you already have a history with Stallone, bad guy, or it's the bad guy from Bad Boys 3. Like, I was like, because he was just kind of acting weird the whole movie, and I didn't really know what his thing was. Like, there was, I think somebody said something about like a traitor, and like he was just looking around kind of suspiciously at one point. So I was like, okay.
It wasn't me, like, bro. Like, you saying that is you look sus, my guy.
Yeah, I'm like, it's either you or it's Andy Garcia or something.
You look sus. So yeah, the guy's name is Jacob Sapio. He's not even on the poster. That's sad. He's not on the poster.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him. I didn't think he was gonna be in this. I didn't know that he was gonna be in this movie. So I wonder why though.
Pointless. And I think you and I both knew when they like Stallone, when Stallone died at the beginning, and Nick goes cap out loud in the theater, and Nick goes cap, and I was like, if they kill him, I'm like, wow, Stallone really was like, I'm here for a day, give my money, I'm out of here, like, see ya. And of course, it comes at the end too. He comes, saves the day at the end of the final battle between Statham and Garcia. And you and I were like, surprise, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I was like, they're not gonna do that. And they thought they was slick because they had a corpse. Yeah, and I was like, nah, that's Cap. That's definitely Cap. But the person, or I don't know how to word this, the person whose corpse it was, like, I thought that was a little weird. Like, it's kind of funny, like, oh, got this guy, because they had like some beef with some dude at the beginning of the movie
at a bar.
And then Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, it's this guy's corpse," but I was like, "That's kind of fucked up," because like you didn't. The beef was not so serious that you had to trick him into
Kidnap
dying
this
for you.
man.
It was
You
it was
kidnapped this man.
literally it was literally I lost a bet to you in a bar last week and you won, and now I'm just kind of upset about it. Like that was the whole thing, because it was like, oh, I need you to help me like fight this guy because I lost my ring to him, and he's like, how'd you lose your ring to him? Like I was drunk, but then he just kind of that shit was just kind of weird to me. I don't know what that was about.
That to me, like literally went nowhere, and that payoff was like, oh, it was big. They kidnapped the little short guy who they called
Mm-hmm.
Big Shrimp, and basically like, oh, so how'd you survive, Barney? And they show like they literally kidnapped this guy, knocked him out. He was still alive too. The plane was going down, was burning. And the guy goes, oh, he wakes up, and then Stallone kind of hops off the plane. I was yeah, so I survived, and I was like, okay, yeah. I was like, so you literally kidnapped a guy over a ring,
Over
kidnapped this
some
man,
bullshit.
knocked him out, and then basically killed this man, basically sent him out on his demise. And it literally, I was like, we're like, okay, but oh my, that and the scenes and the scene where the scene where Statham's looking for like the ex-expendable. He goes looking for this guy, and it's clearly Tony Jaa. It's
Yeah.
clearly him the entire time. And he goes, I don't know. He's been dead for a while. He's been dead for a while. I don't know who it is. Good luck, whatever. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. And he goes, Barney died. I'm him. I am that guy you're looking for. And I was like, bro.
Yeah, I was
I was
like,
like,
no
bro.
shit, you're him, bro.
It's like, come on. Like, you couldn't make it any more fucking obvious. And that's where a point where I was like, okay, I'm checked out. I'm checked out. Yeah, I'm still here for the run. I'm still laughing at this with you. Still having fun making fun of this movie. But damn, I was checked out. I was like, wow, you made it so fucking obvious. And the dialogue between the two of them were funny, but it was kind of just like, okay, this is definitely like cliche. I
Mhm.
mean, what are we missing? Oh, spoiler. I'm trying to think. Like I said, Megan Fox really had what we talked about with the Big Ben after the movie, that it would have made more sense if she was like Andy Garcia's daughter or Stallone's daughter or niece, whatever.
Yeah, because when Stallone died, she just took over the team. So, and that's what I was talking about earlier when I was like, I'm not really buying this, because there was a scene like she was breaking down the plan, but she was looking down the whole time. So it kind of made it seem like, are you just reading off the script or what? Because why wouldn't you
Sure,
just be
right, right.
looking at your team for all
Oh
of
my
that?
god, that's right. Thank you for yes. I forgot that too. Yes, there were so many times where like you can tell like they were like hardcore ad libbing because they didn't know the lines, or they were reading
Hmm.
off something. Like she was for sure reading off something, no doubt. And like that's the scene where Dolph Lundgren goes, "Well, he says let's go." She goes, "Okay, let's go." Like that felt like so like I don't know, just
Oh,
crowbarred in
yeah.
there.
It felt weird because it's like you got this. She's a brand new character, and then she just takes over the team. So it just felt kind of like, okay, but why though? You know what
Literally,
I mean?
why?
Like, and it was just weird. Like the whole, oh, sorry, Barney, but you can't come on the mission. And then he gives her like the knife with the tracker in it. She's like, I knew that the tracker was in there
Yes.
the whole time. This was the whole plan. Why not just bring him on the mission? Like, what was the point of that?
That made no sense, Nick, when she said, like, oh, I knew the entire time that was the mission. Bullshit. Bullshit. My ass. I'm like, ain't
Yeah,
no
it's
way
like
that was the plan.
that like if you knew that for sure the whole time, like that's gratuitous. That was very unnecessary. Like just bring him on the team or
Okay,
bring him with, you know?
this movie has 4 screenwriters. What the hell were y'all doing? Because a lot of this to me felt like this things were written like on set. Like, hey guys, do this instead. We don't care. Just say whatever. Like, you can't tell me you have 4 writers on this, and this is what you get. Like, come
Mm-mm.
on. Like, really, you have 4 writers. Or they must say, hey, you want to write an Expendables movie? You're hired. Come on in. Like, I'm telling you, this felt like a mechanic movie or one of those Bruce Willis movies that were VOD. They go, hey man, we're gonna give you this rule because we owe you a movie. You write whatever Expendables. You write whatever the hell you want. By all means, go for it. There was like no love. There was like no kind of love or effort to this whatsoever. But you're right. It felt like everything was written like really read on head like during the scene or like, written day of. God damn it, man.
Yeah, like it didn't have that much heart. like that much heart in it. You know, it just felt kind of like
no
it was
emotion at
like
all.
it's fun, sure, but it's like I don't. Maybe it's just me because I don't always want to just watch a fun like turn your mind off like type of movie because like the main thing for me is the dialogue low key. Like it's really hard for me to get past that, man. Because
Oh,
it's
dude.
like it's just a little bit too corny sometimes.
No, it's dude, I'm telling you, man, it's time to retire this franchise. And I said this in the at the in the car after the movie. I was saying to you, I was like, um this to me, like, what a waste of Stallone. But to me, like, damn, Stallone like has nothing anymore except for Tulsa King and his little reality TV show on Paramount Plus. No,
That's some paycheck bullshit if I ever seen it. Like you
right,
had no reason
for
to do
sure.
that, man. Are you kidding me? Oh man, like Stallone with the fucking that because he's like, keeping up with the Kardashians. I could do that.
Yo, literally.
Can I say something?
Hey, go ahead.
Um,
Or Rambo.
I think
Nah, Rambo's over.
part of it
Rambo's
is a
over now.
paycheck.
Dude.
I feel like part of it is a paycheck, but you also gotta look at it like this. Like Quentin, what's his fucking name? Not Quentin Tarantino. Clint Eastwood kept doing movies even when people are like, please stop. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, he's still doing
Um,
westerns. He's still doing westerns.
yeah, I think it's that because like some people just don't want to leave the scene, even though they have money to last them even after they're gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
I think
100%.
it's just that like they want to stay in the business, you know? Like, and if you truly think about it, like there are a lot of actors that, like that if like even though you won't name them as some of your favorite like older actors, like they won't be named as one of your favorites. It would be weird not to see them in movies at some point. You know what I mean? To like
Right.
stop seeing them. So I feel like they're at that phase of just trying to figure out what they're gonna do because they've done this for so long. So part of it I feel like is definitely a paycheck, but another part is they're trying to figure out the whole new generation at this point and keep doing what they've been doing, what they've loved. So yeah. I feel like we're at that point of where these actors, the older actors at least, are confused about how they're gonna keep moving
Right.
within the new world of film.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. I think I would love to see Stallone really do something kind of like, more dramatic in a way. 'Cause I feel like he's a really good actor. He's a really good actor. Again, I'm
I
thinking
want to see
Tulsa King
him.
is good.
Yeah, really good. I want to see him do a cameo in Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
That would be dope. That would be
Yeah.
dope. Like for real.
That second one,
Like
that
one of the
reboot.
veterans.
Ooh.
Yeah, one of the veteran. One of the veteran Judge Dredds. Like it's like he's in the background at the like station or some shit. Like that'd be great.
Yeah.
Fuck it,
Oh,
say it's his
man.
dad.
Yeah, see, that's something like that would
That's
again.
true. Running a family type thing.
I think Stallone really wants to like keep acting. I want him to stop, but at the same time, like with Rambo being done, Expendables being done, he no longer has involvement in Creed. I mean, I would hope to do Creed 4, they would bring him back to a degree,
Exactly.
not kind of like just like oh yeah, look at me, I'm back, but like have a really good reason for him to come back. Like then I still find it weird that they mentioned like really in a brief minute in 3, and I get it. It was Michael Jordan's. He wanted to tell a different story. I get that. I love Creed 3. I really did. It's my top 10 of the year so far. With that said, it still kind of felt weird that he wasn't any of the photos, wasn't at, again, spoilers, he wasn't at the funeral for his mom. It just, to me, just like, what's going on here? And again, it wasn't so much a beef between Michael B. Jordan, Coogler, and Stallone. It was with the Winklers who own the rights to Rocky and Stallone. So there was no beef between, again, Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. It was a bigger issue than it was, but I don't know. I love Statham too. He's very charming, very charismatic as well. But man, his chemistry with Megan Fox was non-existent. You're just like, oh my god, get on with it. They like sexy. Oh, that's right. There's a sexy fight, right? And tell me why there's like weird ass camera. Right? Remember this, Nick? On the fan. And I was like, what the hell is this shot? There's literally
Yeah,
a camera.
it was pretty awkward. I'm not gonna
Oh
lie.
wait, is it like one of the '90s like camera where like is it like from like top down, like behind the fan, ceiling fan?
Behind the
No,
blade.
this
Yeah,
no
Yeah.
this
like you
this
know the
no
old
this
school '90s 2000 movie action movie type shit. Yeah, a
not
drug
so much.
dealer movie type shit.
No, not so much. It felt like there was a camera on the fan that they kind of forgot about.
Like you're seeing them, they're passing the fan, and it looks like there's a camera on it.
No, like literally they put a GoPro on like the fan, like, one of the blades, and they forgot it was there.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Because literally, like her was it her blouse, Nick? Like was literally on the fan as well, and was covering some of the camera as well.
It was something that looked a little risque.
It was weird, dude. It was so weird.
I can't imagine this in my head. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah.
It was so weird, but again, it's yeah. I digress. That's our again. That's all I'll say about this. But Nick, before you hop off, my friend, a few things. What's your movie of the week and show of the week that you recommend for our listeners and our fans?
All right. All right, listen up, y'all. Let's do this. So, movie of the week. I feel like this is a very underappreciated film. It's really it's a very very unique film. It's called Collateral with Tom Cruise, Mark Ruffalo, Jamie Foxx, and Jada Pinkett Smith. Like I've only seen this movie a couple of times, but I remember it just like so vividly, just the visual style of it, the way it looks, the way especially the way Tom Cruise's character is. Like
Yeah,
he's just like from like a I don't know, like a character standpoint, psychological standpoint, like he's so interesting because it's like he has all of these different sides to him, and he's just a very compelling character. And speaking of Jason Statham, he actually makes a little cameo in this movie, and supposedly, one of the filmmakers, it was either the director of Collateral or the director of the Transporter movies that Jason Statham was in. One of them said that it's a shared universe because
cool.
like he says that when you see Jason Statham in Collateral, like actually just a transporter. I think he's kind of being a little jokey with it, but I mean shit, like that would be a really interesting connected universe right there. And I like to look at movies kind of differently like that, where it's like, oh, I wonder if this actor in this movie is connected to like that. You know what I mean? I kind of like to think like it would be interesting if this was connected, because even what's his name, Michael Bay, he was saying that Transformers and his Friday the 13th movie are in the same universe.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, because the did you see his Friday the 13th?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Movie is.
So you remember the there was like this jock guy, right? He was a blonde haired guy.
Oh, get the fuck out of here!
That same actor was the bully / football player from the first Transformers movie with Shia LaBeouf that was dating Megan Fox.
God.
And since he was in both movies, Michael Bay was like, yes, it's the same universe. I'm like, that's funny.
No fucking way. Yeah, you're right. I mean, he's playing a guy named Trent as well. Trent in Transformers and Trent in Friday the 13th. That's a stretch.
There you go,
that's
right there.
Stretch. I mean, they're both Paramount, so I guess too. But god damn, that's a stretch.
He made both of the movies, so it's like, yeah, fuck it.
Dude, I always forget that fucking Michael Bay produced Friday the 13th. God damn it. Oh my god.
But I like the idea of like multiple movies being in like a shared universe, like how like Tarantino's movies, they're all in the same universe. True. I think that's interesting. Like once I get up there and I start making bigger movies, no matter what, it's always gonna be the same fucking universe, no matter what's going on. I promise you. Even Lord and Miller with the Spider-Verse movies, they always shout out the other movies that they worked on, like Lego Movie and the
Machine one, Mitchell Machines, I want to say.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't even like DJ Abrams did with like some of his movies, like Slusho, like certain things that have like kind of like connective tissue with like Star Trek and Cloverfield.
I know
a few others.
I don't think I've seen a J.J. Abrams movie. I haven't seen one in a while, but I know like with the Cloverfield movie specifically, it was like we made Cloverfield, and then they were making that 10 Cloverfield Lane movie, but that apparently was not originally supposed to be related to Cloverfield. It was just a psychological like horror thriller. And then J.J. Abrams was like, make a Cloverfield. And then he just kind of he just, like, when you watch the movie, it's, spoiler alert, it's the last scene, it's just some random Cloverfield shit. And then even that Cloverfield Paradox movie, that was not originally going to be part of the Cloverfield quote unquote universe. It was just its own sci-fi movie. And J.J. Abrams somehow got attached to like produce it, I think. And he was like, yeah, let's do some reshoots and attach it to the Cloverfield universe. So now, like, it seemed like with Abrams, he was just latching on to other movies that were being made and then just kind of throwing some Cloverfield shit in there.
And thank God he didn't do that for Overlord. I would have been like, oh.
I think he tried to do it for Overlord, right?
Oh, that's right, he did. God,
that's crazy. Yeah, because Overlord was dope, but I think had it been some Cloverfield shit, I would not have enjoyed it as much, I think.
No, same here. I bet we all love fucking Overlord's a great movie, but yeah, that would have been that would have been so cheap too. I would have been like, come on now, really? But yeah. So, but anyway, your show of the week. My bad. Sorry about that.
Oh no, my bad, bro. Let's see. My show of the week. There was I learned about this show around the year 2007, I believe. It's called Jekyll, and it was a BBC miniseries that had about 6 or 8 episodes, and it's modern day. It follows this scientist. His name is Tom Jackman. But he has that whole like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing where he just like switches. But the whole point of the story is it's modern, and he's married and he has a wife and kids, but like they don't know about these transformations. And also he never needed to take the serum. He was just born with this condition. And it's like, okay, interesting. And then the episode is kind of going along. You find out that he was adopted. He never met his actual parents. And it's like, okay, so like, where did he like come from? And it's like nobody knows because he was apparently just found, like as a baby, he was just found at like a train station. Like like there wasn't any record of his birth or anything like that. So it's like, so the mystery kind of grows a little bit. And what else goes on? You find out apparently like in this universe where it's like a modern kind of retelling of the whole Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde story. Within this universe, the actual Robert Louis Stevenson story exists. Like he actually wrote it like all those years ago. So it's like, well, how is, so in like within the context of the show, it's like, well, how is the book, so the book was written but this guy's wrote, so like they kind of play with the mystery of that a little bit. And it was just like really, really fascinating to see how they did it. And it was a very well written show. I think the guys that did the BBC Sherlock and the Netflix Dracula worked on it. Don't quote me on that, but it just kind of seems like their type of show.
Interesting.
But it was really cool. And like the Mr. Hyde persona, like he's like a really fun character. He's really kind of like he's like for lack of a better word, he's a scoundrel, and like they make it a point to make him kind of like to differentiate him from the Tom Jackman persona, because like the Mr. Hyde persona, he's like really violent, he's really like sexual, and he's really aggressive, but he also kind of has like, he doesn't really have like superpowers, but he's kind of like Captain America, where it's like he's a little enhanced, like he's faster and he's stronger, but he also like, he just climbed up a building like Spider-Man at one point, so I don't really know how they explain that. And like his teeth get like really sharp and shit like that. It's a really interesting show. As a matter of fact, I watched it on YouTube, not on YouTube, on Netflix like years ago, but I think you can find like the full episodes on YouTube, so I would definitely check that out. It's just called Jekyll.
You know what's funny? I have a weird connection to that show to a degree. When I was doing my internship at the BFI in London, their partnership with BBC, you know, BBC shows like that and Luther. I remember going to the bathroom at one of the offices during my internship, and they had a poster of Jekyll, and I was like, huh. Really kind of intriguing poster, and now you brought it up, it's kind of like full circle. I was like, huh. I remember seeing the poster for that during my internship in London. So
you gotta watch it, bro. I'm telling you, you gotta watch it.
On my list right now. I'm adding to my list right now because you really pitched the show like really well to me. I'm kind of like, I want to watch it now, so I'm definitely adding to my list. I'm really like, I'm intrigued. And the BBC man has some good shows, man. Again, they put some good content out.
Yeah. Snoop Dogg was like, these motherfuckers don't miss.
Yes.
Because dude, like fucking like Sherlock, bro, that show was
right.
incredible. That show didn't have a bad episode. It had one kind of okay episode, but
Sherlock
even
is
then,
so
it's
good.
like, dang, dude, I love Sherlock, man. I was obsessed.
One of the longest running shows ever to have so many people take the main character role, which is Doctor Who as well.
He's one of the writers, right? He's
Yeah.
one of the writers on Doctor Who as well. He's the showrunner. Wow.
And David Tennant has been Doctor Who himself as well. That's how I was first introduced to him, and he's done a lot of work since then and been recognized for his great works as an actor. So yeah.
Dude, David Tennant, dude, he's a Harry Potter. He's also in the Fright Night remake that I fucking love. I was still appreciative to this day. Sweet. I'm definitely adding this to my list. Thank you, Nick. This is like, I'm hyped for this. We're gonna say something else too. Oh wait, before you go, real quick, I can hop off. It was kind of funny too when we're doing out of theater reaction. Took us like 3 takes because
that was the only time we had to do a bunch of takes. Because like the first time it was going smooth, man. We was like hitting all the right notes and everything like that. Like, you know, like da da da. And this dude just like shoves his like baby boy in the camera. Put my son in the video. I'm like, hey man, that's not what this is, player. What the fuck? It just took me off guard. I'm like, man, if you don't back up respectfully,
bro, like,
of course.
He literally, like, I swear to God, Joe, he literally put this baby, like, we were like deep thought too. We were deep thought. Because I shoves his baby behind me and Nick into the video.
I knew something was up because I was looking at the camera because like I had finished saying my piece and I saw Doug saying his piece, but I was like, why does Doug keep looking to the side? And I turn around, I see this dude like basically charging at us with this little kid in his hands. I'm like, oh my gosh.
No, he ran up against us and he put his thing, and then like we're still recording, and he's like, man, movie was whack, man. Movie was no chemistry. The first three were so much better. And I was like, yeah, I was agreeing with them, but I was still recording. So I was kind of like, all right. And he goes, hey, make sure to put my kid in the video. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, no, for sure. I clicked end of the recording.
He's like, put my son in the video. He didn't like it either. I'm like, man, okay.
He was asleep most of the movie, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, why did you take a 2-year-old to Expendables 4?
I think he was smaller than 2. I think he was like a newborn, like less than almost a year, I would say. Because that kid
what was going on.
Oh my God, that was so funny. And like we had to do like another take, and then we did take 2. And Nick and I were still laughing about it, so we had to like cancel the take 2 because we were still laughing at it because like that never happens to us.
It was just so out of pocket. It felt like an Atlanta episode.
Dude, that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like.
So
I was
weird. I was like, what the fuck is this?
I'm very proud of us for doing like we're kind of like a 1 take guys. That's it. We do 1 take, we got it, we're going. But like that was the first time. You're right. We did do more than 1 take, and like literally, the guy he lunged at us with his baby. I was like, bro, like don't drop your kid first off. But no, I want to throw it out there before you hopped off. But anyway,
no, that shit was funny, bro.
Where can they find you, my friend?
So you can find me on YouTube at Donning Vision. That's capital D, capital V, and on Instagram at Donning Vision, all one word, all lowercase. Like I said, YouTube and Instagram. And you can find me anywhere that they have podcasts. Again, under the name Donning Vision.
It's a great podcast, guys. Isn't it Headcanon? It's called too.
Yes, it is called Headcanon. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate you.
Great show, man. I love your background that you and Jake do every week. It's fun. It's a great show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, brother. Sorry. All right, brother. Until then, man, we will see you next time. Thanks for making that screening on Tuesday, man. Memorable one.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's always a great time.
All right, brother. See you soon, my boy. We love you.
All right, see you guys soon. Love you guys.
Peace.
Deuces.
Oh, man.
So sorry to your audience that you'll be hearing me blow twice into my fucking mic because we're not paying
shut
attention.
Up. Shut up with that.
Damn it.
Shut up with that.
Get him
man.
off the show. What the fuck?
Bring that shit somewhere else. We don't want that shit here. Come on, man. I'm totally kidding. But
bring back the yelling at the dog.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. Bring back yelling. That's for if you're a fan of the show for a while, you would know the
Yeah, if you're if
the
you're
deep
if
cut of
you're
the
one of the
show.
OG fans who listened since the beginning, you'll hear you'll hear my ex roommate yelling at her dog constantly.
Dude, oh my
It
god.
was a lot of episodes.
Oh my god.
I think I
Look
had
how
like
good
one
of them.
episode where they weren't home that day, so I
You're like,
think
this is my moment.
my
I'm waiting
moment.
for my moment. Fuck your
Right.
moment.
One night I thought that we were gonna be good. They came home just late. Fucking
You're like,
started
damn
yelling.
it.
It's like, God damn it.
Come on, help me, help you. Help me,
Facts.
help you. What I was, dude. It's. Have you watched anything good though? Any good movies? Or anything? 'Cause I've been rewatching stuff, dude. Like I've been rewatching a lot of old stuff. Like,
I haven't been watching movies. I got back on. I blame my mother for this addiction that I
oh
love, which is which is crime documentaries.
nice,
and
nice.
and
Yeah.
and I'm going to explain this to people that are ready so people who are ready understand what I mean by what I blame my mother for this, and people who don't, we grew up two different ways. So people who do understand this grew up with one TV in the house. You couldn't change the channel
Oh,
if
yep.
your
That was me
parents
too.
were watching
Oh
TV.
yeah. Ooh
Exactly.
no. Ooh
Now that's
no.
part one of it. Part two of it is my mother loved watching cold case files and other crime shit like this. And as a kid, you don't want to watch it. You want to be like, oh, but I want to watch this and go play. So you sat down, quietly watched because there was nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And then you grew up and you started loving crime documentaries and shows. I watched case files. I watched crime documentaries, things like the craziest shit that happens, and it's just insanity. So that's me. I've been on that and YouTube.
Yeah. That's what's funny. You mentioned that. That your crime, like, those kind of docs and like true crime, whatever. Like that was like me. And my parents used to watch like HGTV all the time, or like those like kind of home remodeling shows. And I'm like, please, it's Saturday. Please,
Yeah.
please, please. I don't care who bought whose house anymore. And now I'm kind of like, the house was sold for how much? How many rooms do they have?
Yeah, my mom
How
used
many
to
square
watch the
footage is this?
the
Yes.
fucking remodeling ones where they're
Yes.
just like, look at your new house,
Yes.
and be like, oh my god. Like, yeah, like so I watch that shit too, or I watch where
It's
they sell
intriguing.
houses. Like the professionals go in. Yeah, we can get this house for like 25,000. 25,000. Like what year was this show filmed?
Yeah, literally, right? Wait, what? Yeah, what in what market and what city is a house getting
Well,
for
what city
25,000?
where Tennessee
Yeah,
2007 makes sense.
yeah.
Like,
Nowadays, that's probably gonna be your mortgage.
half a
Like, get the hell out
mil.
of here. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my god, dude, don't get me started, man. No, it's
Oh
fun.
man. Actually, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the habits and the things that we gotten from our parents as movie lovers and TV show lovers.
What's a good
Let's
one?
talk about that. I think that's a good topic.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. Ooh, that's a lot. I mean, I got to credit a lot. My parents put me on a lot of stuff, and my dad put me on like a lot of like shows and movies. Really a lot of movies too. But no, go ahead. You go first. I've been talking a lot. I want you to kind of like share your
Yeah, I've
piece.
been quiet, so
Yeah, man. Come
I'll
on.
let y'all
Speak
do
your
the
mind, man.
reveal.
Speak your
I have
mind.
nothing to say. All right,
Let him talk.
I'm
Let him
gonna say
talk.
this is my grandfather. This is
Okay.
passed down from my grandfather. Old school Cuban man, had a reclining chair, so whenever we'd visit, was cooking and like my dad was talking to whoever was there, like probably my uncle, his brother, and my mom was in the kitchen with my grandma or something. We kids would be sitting on the couch, or I'd be sitting. When I was small enough, I grew really fast, so I stopped sitting on my grandfather's lap real quick. But sitting on my grandfather's lap, he had martial arts movies. My grandfather
Oh, cool.
loved martial arts movies. He had Mortal Kombat, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, Jet Li. Like, he loved martial arts movies, which goes into I love martial arts movies, but it went even deeper, and I fell in love with Asian movies. It's Korean, Japanese.
Oh yeah.
Not a lot of Chinese, but I feel like I haven't seen anything that stuck out to me, but I probably have watched, you know. But yeah, that blah blah blah. Sorry, English, fucking only language so far, and yeah, fucking suck at it. Excuse my stuttering. That translated to my dad, my brother, and me. We all love martial arts movies, whether they're good or bad. You know what I mean? Like, was it Kung Fu Hustle? That other one, like Kung Fu, like something. I forget. It was like Kung Fu something, where like this white guy, where it was like a parody of more martial art movies, and it was like a white guy was the lead. He fought like a cow, right? Like he went hand to hand against a cow that was animated really poorly back in the day too. But that was that movie. I forgot what movie that was. But you know, we love cheesy movies. We love stuff like that. And then that just, you know, from my dad, we loved action movies. You know, like Rambo, you know, Bruce Willis, Alien, with you know, Alien, Predator with shit, what's his fucking name? Terminator. What's
Ooh.
his name? Right?
Oh, Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger, yeah. You know, we saw
Arnold
those.
Schwarzenegger.
So action films really runs like blood deep in my family, and from my mother,
Yeah.
she loved crime stuff. So I fell in love with the movie, which I didn't fall in love with it at the time, but it did intrigue something in me. So like anything with crime, I really did love watching, because I always used to make this joke whenever she was watching something like Cold Case Files. I was like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you always watching this? Are you planning to murder us and get away with it?" And she laughs, says, "No, obviously, I don't
Research
fully
purposes.
believe it." Yeah. She always, my mother is very Christian, so she says, "I like to see the bad guys get caught." So, um, I still don't fully believe that to this day. I lock my door, you know, at night just in case. No, I love my mom. She's good. She's a good one. So she would watch a lot of like crime stuff. So like, but and sometimes that would go into suspense and like thrillers, which eventually I fell in love with. I remember watching Seven with my family, you know, which I have
Nice.
recommended in the past. Yes, and like that, I feel like throughout time, I got more intrigued in thrillers and suspense movies. Not so much horror, but more of just like what the fuck's gonna happen, and also crime, obviously with documentary shows. Recently watched this one on Netflix that actually made me cry. A documentary called "The Girl in the Picture," and it's just so sad of what happened and how bad the whole situation was and how crazy the whole story is. Just like a three episode docu series, and I cried at the end. I really did, Joe. So it's real crazy. Um, but yeah, those are so action, martial arts, crime, and thrillers, and comedy, obviously from like the you know Kung Fu Hustle and shit, which me and my brother used to fucking watch that show on repeat. Uh, you know, so crime, action, martial arts, comedy, and thrillers. I'd say that all it stems from my family growing up
Nice.
around them. Yeah.
It's a diverse taste of stuff. It's so different from each other.
Oh, we are all very, very different.
Yeah,
And you know that. You've met my
of
family. You
course.
met my
Of
siblings, everything.
course.
We are all very different. But I think it's real interesting too, because because of my parents, like my grandfather, my dad, my mom, we all grew up like movie people. So we can,
Yeah.
like, me and my brother truly do have conversations about movies, shows, and like anime too. So, you know. So yeah, it's really cool.
It was funny. I thought of you the other day. I couldn't find the tweet anymore. Maybe the letterbox review. It was like I was watching a bunch of Robert Rodriguez movies, and he did stuff like Spy Kids, To Dusk Till Dawn, Lava Girl, Alita,
Yeah, nice.
Machete. Yeah, and what kind of going a rabbit hole of all his movies for some reason. I don't know why. But I was watching it. And there was a tweet, or there was a letterbox review, and it was like Hispanics be like, Machete is our Black Panther. I was like, God damn it. I was like, oh my, I was like, oh man. And I couldn't find the review. I was trying to send it to you, and I was like, I can't find it no more. But I was like, I thought of it right now, and I was like, oh man, if I find it, I'll send it to you. But it
That's
was like, it's kind of funny. It's
that's fucking hilarious.
fucking Danny Trejo. This is our Black Panther.
That's
I
our
remember
Black
seeing a
Panther.
review. I remember seeing a review. No. I'm the one. No, remember the one I saw with you in person. I kind of like you're like fuck that. It was like Black Panther. Hispanics will have Beverly Hills Chihuahua, and you were like fuck out of here.
Hated that movie,
I
and
know
that also stems from me not liking Chihuahuas. I fucking hate
right.
Chihuahuas. No offense to dog owners who own Chihuahuas. I've met a few Chihuahuas I'm okay with, but like fuck that movie. That's the dumbest shit in the world.
There's there's a great line in The Office, remember? And he goes, they're playing like that episode with all the rumors of like, oh wait, what you say about me? And then
Oh yeah.
someone, and Oscar goes, what? You think I'm the voice of the Taco Bell dog?
I
Like
always forget that Taco Bell had a dog
like the
mascot.
dog,
God
dude.
damn.
And then someone said, he said it so like without like any remorse, and it's so funny the way his delivery of it. It's so funny. He's like, what? You think I'm the Taco Bell dog? Oh my god. Yeah, I'm trying to. So yeah, and my parents definitely. I'll tell you this, my family. Well, my cousins especially put me on like Adam Sandler movies and Will
Oh
Ferrell
yeah.
movies for sure. Like the OG Will
The
Ferrell,
same with my
OG.
family. Like my
Yeah,
dad, my whole family loves Adam Sandler. We can't.
he's a goat, man.
We had Big Daddy on DVD. We had so it was Jim Carrey and Adam.
Yeah, yep, yeah.
Sorry, keep on.
That's no. Again, we're kids of the '90s, so like we're definitely like that was like Jim Carrey, Will Ferrell, Adam Sandler.
Chris Farley,
Chris Farley, dude,
R.I.P. Chris
everyone,
Farley.
Chris Rock,
Yeah.
all those guys, man, were kind of a big part of our childhood.
Did
Still a big part of
did
our lives.
did you watch that? I sent you like a TikTok like a few weeks, I think about a week or two ago, about them about all the different people who knew Chris Farley and like how they
I
talk.
did.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that breaks your fucking heart, man.
If you're a fan of Chris Farley, you're a fan of Adam Sandler, I would recommend watching. What stand up was it? Because I've seen it in person now twice. I saw him do it a few years ago with Julia, and I saw him again with my dad this past Christmas. Um, Usually every show he did a little nice tribute to Chris Farley. I think you can find it on YouTube too. But it's like a 5-6 minute song, and Sandler's playing the guitar and singing a song and doing like kind of like a reminiscing about his best friend, and like he has like clips and like photos from back in the day on the screen behind him, and he's playing this beautiful song like Chris Farley. It's a really good song. It's again, it was a part of his special. It's part of his stand up. His current stand up that he does on tour, but I think it was on Netflix as well. But I think you find the clip on YouTube as well. It's a beautiful tribute, and Sandler sings a great song about him. It's really moving, very touching. So I would highly recommend watching that if you're a fan of Sandler or Chris Farley, especially. It's a good tribute. I'm trying to think. My mom. I'll tell you this. My mom, especially as a kid, was Rocky. For me, it was Rocky. It was a big part. Me watching that. Annie
Yeah.
Hall, especially. The Godfather. Totally The Godfather.
Oh, dude,
That's her favorite
I
movie of all
found out
time.
I have 2 VCR of the first
No way.
Godfather.
That's
Two
cool. That's
collections,
worth
like with
something.
the
That's
yeah.
worth something.
I
That's
definitely
worth
gotta give
something.
you one of those because
I'd
yeah,
be honored. I would be
yeah, I
honored to
got
have
you.
that.
We got, and
I'd
then
be
we got
honored.
VCR of The Sopranos.
That's cool too. A show that you told me to watch. I'm still like season one. Oh no, season one. Like,
Dude, I haven't even
you put me on that
finished
shit
it. I
during COVID.
stopped watching.
Oh,
It was
really?
really good
Because you were
too.
watching it.
Yeah, I
I'm gonna
stopped.
watch it too because you're watching it.
Yeah, it surprisingly got really good. I feel like it slowed down, and I slowed down watching certain things. I got distracted. You
Yeah,
know, those shows that you start
it
and then you
happens.
stop, and like, I'll go back eventually. It takes a while. I haven't watched it in a while. So
Yeah, no,
yeah,
same here. Same here. That makes two of us. Trust me, that makes two of us. I hear you, dog. Um, so yeah, Godfather for sure. Annie Hall. Um, a very obscure one my mom put me on, or my mom, or as a kid. I have my mom think for this as a kid. I remember she talked about this movie called Pulp Fiction all the time. She goes,
oh,
"Oh my god, oh my gosh, I saw that with your father when it came out," and all of us were like, "What the fuck did we just watch?" Or whatever. She didn't say that, but she was saying like, "That movie stuck with me for years. Like, it's gonna stick with you forever." And I was like, "All right, I'll watch it eventually." And I watched it eventually, maybe in high school and college. I was like, "Oh yeah," I guess because like at the time it was like, Tarantino was really pushing the envelope. He was really pushing like, what you put in a movie, obviously. But if I remember her, saying that about Pulp Fiction all the time as a kid, I was like, okay, for sure, okay. And I watched it. I was like, oh yeah, this Pulp Fiction is one of the greatest movies ever made.
yeah,
That and a really random one that she put me on. I'll say this is definitely Fast Times at Ridgemont High with Sean Penn playing the stoner Spicoli. Um,
never watched it.
uh, that's great. Oh, you would love it. It's on Netflix now, Netflix, or I
Okay,
might have a
Fast
digital
Time at
code to give
Richmond
you.
High.
It's like kind of Dazed and Confused, kind of in a way.
Okay,
It
which is
but
also a movie I truly loved growing up.
it's in my top 10 of all time to this day. But no,
My
you would
brother,
like
my
Fast Times a lot.
Yeah. My brother
You would
threatened to
really
do
like
that
this
to me
movie a lot.
when I graduated middle school. He never
Wait,
did it.
what?
The paddle,
Oh
when
my
they're no
God,
eighth
yeah, Ben
grade,
Affleck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My
Come on, you
brother
little
threatened to do
freshman
that.
bitches. Oh
Yeah.
hell, God, dude.
Luckily he
God, no,
forgot he
you
said
would.
that never happened.
You would definitely like Fast Times because obviously now Sean Penn is now kind of like this like political activist, so it's like he's not like kind of like the same Sean Penn anymore. But like, you see Sean
Right.
Penn in this, you're gonna like wow, because again, it's obviously a movie that unfortunately see this all the time cannot be made today, but
Right.
it's really a funny movie that I think kind of still holds up to this day. I mean, because not Gen Z would probably hate this movie for sure. But if you
I
like stuff like Fast Times and stuff, you would. I'm telling you, Joe, you would love this movie. It's really funny. It's really
I
funny. It's very
have
like 80s.
a comedy movie that I know Gen Z would love. And if they don't, they're fucking crazy. And I feel like a lot of people forgot about this movie. It's a David Spade movie
Which one?
called Dickie Roberts, former child star.
Oh yeah, Charles Star. That's a good one.
It's a
If
good
Gen
one.
Z hates that movie, then yeah, well, it's oh boy. Yeah.
Nucky
What
fucks.
Spade? Oh man, I forgot about that movie. That's why I've seen it in a long time.
Yeah, I just
A
remembered it as we
long
were
time.
talking about all these movies. Yeah. So,
That's why,
yeah.
man. That's why I really admire Sandler, man. Sandler got his friends movies made, man. This man would produce anything his friends would do. Any movie that they wanted to make, he would produce. He would get the financing for it. I really admire that about Sandler to this day. Like I really admire that to this day.
Because,
Because again, anything,
yeah. Because they
love his
were
friends. He got his boys
all,
back
yeah, because they were all funny, but I also think, like, he wanted to stick close to them, especially after Chris
for
Farley,
sure, for
to just make sure
sure.
everyone did well, but also just, make sure like they didn't fall because a lot of people, they got popular off of like Mad TV or
Yeah,
Saturday Night Live, but they couldn't make it past that besides, being, typecast. I
yeah,
felt like Adam Sandler didn't want that. He saw the effects of that had on them, and I feel like he was like, all right, like let's have fun, but make sure
yeah.
everyone. And I think that really did help a lot of people.
I would agree with that too because he really looked after his friends and again whether it's Kevin James, Rob Schneider, Chris Rock, everyone, David Spade, like he would have no problem putting Happy Madison, his production company, all the movies that they would make. And again, gotta give it to him. Like he really he stuck by his friends, even though the movies were not as good. Unfortunately, he still had produced by Adam Sandler right there. So gotta respect him for that. I'm trying to think
Yeah.
what but my dad put me on a lot of stuff too. I mean, Back to the Future is my favorite movie because of my dad.
Yeah.
Um,
My dad
another
put me on like Rocky, shit, and fucking what are other classic movies? We're probably forgetting so badly.
I'll tell you what, my dad put me on Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. I have him to this day thinking of that for those movies like Hot
Oh,
Fuzz, Shaun of the
dude,
Dead.
same for Shaun of the Dead. My parents
Yeah, dude,
bought it. They had the DVD. I think I
Shaun of the
still have the
Dead.
case, the fucking case. I don't think we have the DVD, or we might only have the DVD, but not the case.
Yeah,
But I used to watch that on repeat. Shaun of the
so
Dead. That
good.
shit had
It's
me
so
dying laughing growing up, man.
it's so good. Like again, I can watch that any day of the week and I'll still laugh. I'll still have a good time. Puts a big smile on my face. But no, definitely my dad definitely Back to the Future, the Cornetto, the that trilogy, the Cornetto trilogy, stuff like that. And like I said, I mean,
Hmm.
I said before, I said this before on a bonus episode or weekly audio, audio newsletter was that yeah, no, thanks to my parents, like I wouldn't have loved movies the way that I would today. And obviously, that kind of carried over when I started going to movies a lot together when we were in middle school and high school, and even to this day, now we have podcasts about it. But no, they again, there were so many days where like weekends too, where like my again, if I was going to the movies that weekend, it was the best weekend ever. Going to the movies after school one day, best day ever. So I have them to thank for that stuff too. And I'll say this too. I said this to my dad a few weeks ago at dinner. You know, there were so many people I met in college, like a lot of people I met in college, and even in study abroad too, or even post college now too, where oh, you studied film? I'm like, yeah, I went to film school all 4 years. My parents supported me on that for sure, and a lot of people say, oh man, you're lucky. My parents would never support me doing that. And it kind of breaks my
Yeah.
heart a little bit where I'm like, oh man, like it puts in perspective of like how lucky I am and how blessed I am. But I'm lucky
Yeah.
that all 4 years of college they were in like, okay, you want to study film? You go for it. And they've been very supportive of the show. Obviously, they're very supportive of us doing the show, stuff like that. But honestly, the show probably wouldn't have be a thing if it wasn't for them, supporting supporting our love of movies, but my love of movies, but also he's kind of like just always having me kind of pursue my dream and always kind of like led me to like talk about movies a lot, buy DVDs, go to the movies every weekend. Again, I put my parents through some lot of crap of movies to watch, like whether it was SpongeBob or Yu-Gi-Oh the movie. Like I had them like sit
Oh
through
no,
a lot of
I
shit,
went. Yeah.
a lot of shit. So they know like they spend hours on like really bad movies, but I'm grateful for that because that really kind of like always supported me my love for movies and supported my love for like cinema. So thank you, mom and dad, for listening to this, and which I know you are. Thank you for always believing in me, believing in this my passion and just love for it all. Because again, like I said, it's the show is what it is thanks to you guys. The show it is thanks to you Joe, and to Nick and to Moses and to all our fans and listeners. But my parents definitely had that kind of that they always like always kept that spark alive of me loving movies and shows no matter what, and that's something that I'll never like forget. And hopefully I'll pass it on to my kids one day too, and you know the legacy to come on to the legacy of of my legacy and and so forth. But and you too, man. Like I said, man, I said all the time to you as well. But thank you for always being my movie partner, man, in high school and middle school because like I
Oh
said,
yeah.
whenever we were when the crew or gang was being weird, we go either to the movies or McDonald's or a spot at the river at River East. But you
I
were the
yeah.
go ahead.
I gotta thank my family in general. They probably not
Yeah,
listening to this. Maybe my brother.
I hope
He
so. I
might
hope
be
so.
listening. I hope so. Yeah. But my family. We were always a movie family. Like we constantly went to theaters too. My brother put me on a few things as well. My brother has really we he's really good at recommending things for certain people. Like you could go to my brother and be like, "Yo,
Well, you
one,
are
I need
too.
to Thank you. I know,
You
but
are
like
too.
with
You
my
are
brother,
too.
he's a lot better. But like with me, it's like film and like TV. Like my brother's like general things. Like if you go in for like cologne or perfume or like food places, he's the guy. He'll tell you some places and you're just like, all right, cool, and it's always banging. You know what I mean? So, but like yeah, my family, we always loved film and stuff. But then like I think because of you. I got way more invested in it, you know. So yeah, like to do a podcast and want to make it eventually a career to be a movie director and write my own movies and direct them. So I think like I don't think my love for movies would have extended farther than just a general moviegoer if it wasn't for you. So yeah, so thanks to my family and you and Mama and Papa Jones for for always being there. Yeah. So, but yeah, definitely it definitely my love for movies definitely grew because of you, man. So I have a lot to thank for you. Like you gave me a reason to get the fuck away from my family and
Our
have
friends.
fun. Yeah. Like those days, like I remember I'd hit you up and or I'd see you at school and like the guys wanted to do something and I would tell you like I was so overstimulated by them this past week in school and all the bullshit. Can't we just like go to a movie? And you'd be like, yeah, let's do that. So I'd be like, "Thank God."
Always,
I can
dude.
always count on you to just like if I ever need to get away it was very our friends like you heard the stories but like it was really bad like they were basically all ADH kids hopped up on fucking Monster and sugar
I'm jacked up on Madden, dude.
yeah
I've been
exactly I
drinking tea
didn't
all
want to quote
goddamn
it
day.
gonna bring demons
Nah,
at me
I mean,
anyways uh um but so it was real bad to overstimulated sometimes. So we separate, goes watch a movie or something, or have our own plans. And honestly, like yeah. So and like I said, or chill with your family, or do an event or something. So
yeah.
which I was always so thankful for. Your parents are always so welcoming to me. Like seriously, they're like Danny's parents. They're like other parents to they're like parents to me. So Mama and
They
Papa
love,
Jones are, yeah, I love them very much.
yeah, they love you. And they love you guys. That's always they always yeah, and they always welcoming, and they always have a home for everybody, including you, my friend. I know you for fucking 20 years, man. Just so hard to believe, man.
20 plus years,
20
man.
plus years, man. Hard to believe, man.
It's
20
it's
plus
been
years.
almost a decade since I graduated high school.
I know, man. Shit. I'm right. I'm creeping up behind you, my friend. I'm
Oh my
creeping
God,
up behind
dude.
you,
I'm
unfortunately.
27. Almost halfway to 28.
I'm telling you, man. We're gonna be part of the next Expendables. I'm telling you, we're gonna be the next Expendables. So I'm telling you, man. I
What are you
wasn't joking.
talking about?
Beginning
We're
of the
gonna be the
episode.
next grown-ups by Adam
Oh
Sandler.
shit! Yeah. It goes grown ups first, then Expendable.
And then Expendables, yeah,
Expendables. Yeah.
yeah.
It goes grown ups then Expendables. But nah, man. It's. I love doing. Again, despite I'm not gonna say again, I'm not gonna get into this as much. We'll need these people down the road one day. But despite people telling us we're not real, some people that telling us, oh, the show is this and that, whatever, or amateur or whatever. I'm really proud of the show. I want to thank the fans, especially you, our listeners, man, because you make the show possible for us, every week, and the support too. I posted that really nice review on Apple Podcasts was like really kind of like to me kind of felt like very heartwarming because this person was saying like, oh, the friendships feel genuine and stuff like that. And I was like, made me kind of feel very
Oh,
kind
man,
of just like,
someone did say that. I need to
yeah,
see
dude,
this.
this,
Did you post it
yeah,
on our?
I put on a story. Yeah, this person, yeah, I put up there
Oh, I didn't see
before.
the story, man. You should
Let me
post it on.
see. I enjoy
Or,
this guy. I enjoy listening to these guys every Friday. The friendship seems genuine, and the love and love their passion for film and TV entertainment. Definitely recommend this show, which is nice.
oh, thank you, whoever that was. Thank you so
It was,
much. That means a lot to us. Seriously, like
username is Val J Chandler. So thank you, whoever that is.
yes, Chandler. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, my friend.
Our woman. ma'am,
or person, or dog,
person,
or cat,
you know,
or person,
whatever
or thing. Yeah.
your pronouns or however you'd like identified.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, our fan who generally does love our content. Like, I feel like because of the amount that it grew, I feel like we got a lot more serious about this than we originally planned.
For
You know what I
sure.
mean? Because like originally the plan, like, all right, let's see how many we can get. Like I think like probably within a year we thought like at best we probably get like a few hundred, you know, just listening to us to start. And like, you know, we were just having fun and you know, we saw more and more people come and like just love our content and love us talking and our rambling and that made it so much more exciting and like us being like, all right, we're doing this, you know, like oh my god, like we like whenever you tell me like you know numbers or anything like that, I'd freak out, be like, oh my god, I tell my mom, I tell my sister, I would tell like you know Gia, I would tell like all my friends, like I tell my friend Ashley, like I tell everyone, it's just like oh my god, so like you know like even though we have people that like us, like we love you guys. You know what I mean? Like you guys get us for this and it just continue to like have us like love doing this.
Yeah, dude. I couldn't say any better, man. Like I said, the numbers really surprised us when we got them. But like I said, in despite those certain people, you know, not
Gatekeep.
gatekeeping. Let's say like, I won't go into details on that, but you know, gatekeeping, 10,000, 10,000 is 10,000, and 1,000 is 1,000, 500, 500 is 500, 100 is 100, 10 is 10, 5 is 5. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Numbers are nice. Obviously, numbers are very nice. I'm not gonna deny that. But the love that we've been seeing, the love that we've been getting, and also just you know doing this with you guys every week has been really a true honor for sure. And I'm proud of the show. We're gonna keep going. We love making this show. We love doing this every week. You know, and again, yeah, so anyway, if someone tells you, you know, this isn't this isn't real, or you know, if someone tries to you know, downplay your accomplishment, don't let it get to you. Don't let that affect you. You know, believe in yourself, believe in what you want to do, believe in your craft, believe in like you know your dream, because you know, like I said, numbers are numbers, but if you feel accomplished with something that you're doing like this, you're doing it right. You're doing a great job, and I think no one should ever discredit that from you or take that away from you, despite what they have, or despite certain guidelines and standards. Truly, no, truly believe in yourself, and you know, just stick with it, as I always say. But that's my little TED talk for the week.
Yeah.
Little TED talk for the week. Do you want to take us home, my friend?
Do you want to recommend some movies or shows before we go?
Oh, sure. Yeah, been one a while.
I was like, hold up.
No,
There's
I was
also
waiting for you to say. I was waiting for you to say. Yeah, we said some already. Went to one of our parents' recommendations, but yeah.
oh yeah,
Let
but
me
also,
do. I got one.
can
Yeah, I
I
got actually.
talk about a topic first that I want to
What,
talk about before you
can we
hop
do?
off real quick?
Is it the one you talked about before the show?
Yeah.
I think we should say that with Nick next week. I think because I feel like
Do you want to add that to like your like show extra? You know what I mean?
no.
Like the
Honestly, I think
extra you
that
that you add every week.
um I probably want to do a bonus one this week, but I'd rather say that because for our listeners, a little kind of like behind the scenes, you know, behind the scenes, whatever. Joe has a great
Yeah.
idea about toxicity and fandom, and you know, and racism, and you know, a lot of stuff, like the hurtful stuff. I would rather have save it for a whole episode. Because I feel like what
Okay.
you
Yeah.
brought up
Sure.
it's very important. Also, I don't want to like because the 2 hour mark is kind of where we're at usually for our YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but that to me, I didn't want to like downplay what you wanted, Rob, because you were so passionate about it. I think it's a very
Right.
important topic to talk about. I don't want to water down. Like, oh yeah, we'll talk about just you and I. Because also, I'm a white dude too. I mean, I can talk about certain things,
Yeah.
but again, but you and Nick and even Moses maybe too. But probably just gonna be you. But I mean, I'll have a few things to say about like what I've experienced, not as a white dude, but like what I've seen from like you know social
Yeah.
media, what I've seen from what I've heard from you, what I've heard from Nick, what I've seen like on TikTok and Twitter and you know YouTube, whatever. It's there. It's there no matter what. It's there no matter what, 100%. But I think it would be better to have a whole episode of that. So we have like a full kind of like town hall about it, so we can discuss it. So I don't want to like downplay or kind of like downvote you brought up. Again, it's a very important topic to bring up. If you're cool with that.
Yeah, sure. I'm definitely cool
Cool.
with that. That sounds
Awesome.
good.
Good. Thank you. Again, thanks. Again,
Okay.
it's a very, very important topic that I think it should have its own episode, if not half of an episode. I think it's definitely it's an important conversation to talk about. Again, because we are a hub. The show is a hub. The show is a very accepting show. The show is, again, one come all. If you love movies, doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what you do. The show is a very open invite to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I think so. I'll kick off actually. So for our 1-in-1s, well, actually, you know what? I'll give Joel some praise too. Joel has a great idea. I think it was like a few episodes in of doing a thing called our 1-in-1s. Basically, a 1-in-1 is basically we give you a one show recommendation and one film recommendation. You can either watch it, don't watch it. We don't mind. But we'd try and get this habit of like kind of sharing the good shows, good movies for you to recommend. Again, I love a good watch list. Joel's putting on some great movies to this day. I put some great movies. Place Beyond the Pines, the one that I talk about all the time. That this man showed me this movie. I waited for years. I mean years for this movie, and it honestly kind of almost changed my life in a way.
It was like an annual thing of me just being
it's an
like, "You
annual
watch it
thing.
yet?"
A tradition.
Yeah.
It was a tradition between you and I. 100% tradition between you and I. But we want to do this so we get people get put you on movies on our radar that we love, that we kind of like cherish, that kind of just like admire, stuff like that. Could be some old, some new, some recent, some been a while. But for mine this week, I'm going to go with my first movie is going to go with my movie tonight. Is going to be called a movie called Up in the Air. I love this movie so much. It's George Clooney. It's Anna Kendrick, young Anna Kendrick too. It's basically about this guy. He's a consultant, and basically his job. So basically, he works for a company. People hire him to fire people because they're too much of cowards to do it themselves. So he basically works for a company that, hey, you're going to go to Omaha. You're going to go to South Carolina. He's basically a person that like fires somebody and tells them, here are your options. Here's your severance. Here's your options. Unemployment's this and that, whatever, and go on forth. And he's kind of like a guy that kind of like an everyday man, but he loves flying. Like it's all about his his perks. I got an Admiral Club. I have 100,000 miles. I have like the Sky Lounge, whatever. And I'm a big nerd for anything about airports and kind of like hotels. I don't know. I love movies about airports and hotels for some reason. I just do. Call it a fetish, whatever. But it's a really cool. Again, it's dark comedy, but Clooney's very charismatic. He's very charming. But like you see, kind of just like yeah, that's his job. Like he's not firing these people because he's their boss. He's firing them because again, he says in the movie their bosses are too much of a coward to do it themselves. So they bring us in to fire them to do their dirty work basically. But you see when he's firing people are saying, "I'm gonna kill myself. I'm coming after you. I'm doing this crazy shit." But like again, his job is to kind of like mediate this. Like here are your options going forward. Here you go. Best of luck to you. And that's it. And he's on the plane somewhere else. That's his job. He's never home. He's always traveling. He's always on the plane. And it's a really great story. Again, it's a fantastic script. It's very clever. It's very, very witty. It's very crisp. It's from Jason Reitman, who is the son of the late great Ivan Reitman. We do stuff like Juno and Thank You for Smoking, the recent Ghostbusters, The Front Runner. Great filmmaker, great writer. I love this movie so much on Netflix now. I recommend. It's an hour and a half. It's really charming despite the matter of people getting fired and people losing their jobs. But there's a charm to it that I really recommend. That I love watching it about, and I might even watch it this weekend because it's on Netflix now. No, actually no, I own it on Blu-ray too, so I might put it on the Blu-ray because I love this movie so much. For a show, I'm going with a show that I'm watching more actually now recently because it's on Paramount Plus. The show called Broad City. My friend Julia, my great friend Julia from college, may she rest in peace.
Nice.
Put me on the show in college. I watched it here and there, but I never watched it kind of like thoroughly the way she did. I'm watching it now on myself, and man, this show was hilarious. Because this is I miss this era of Comedy Central when we had Key and Peele, Workaholics, this show. I mean, the OG, the kind of like the 2010 era of Comedy Central. Truly, the show is hilarious about these two girls in New York City. They go through some crazy shit in New York City, kind of like them kind of getting like, their sex life, dating, employment, NYC is a huge city itself. It's kind of the wacky adventures. Hannibal Buress, who I love, is hilarious in this. Kind of the series regulars, kind of like um one of their friends of the gang. It's really funny. I don't want to butcher their names, but the girl that I like, she's hilarious. She was in the night before. Oh my gosh. Um,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, Alana Glazer and Abby Jacobson. They are just hilarious together. They write the show themselves. They are very quick. They have great chemistry. They go through some like, crazy stuff together. But I mean, they go through some like really crazy nonsense in New York City that's so wacky. You're just kind of like, oh my god, this is actually happening. But it's so funny, a lot of charm to it, and these ladies are just like hilarious because they have really great chemistry. That I'm kind of again 25-minute episodes. Yeah, it's the OG era, classic era of Comedy Central that I kind of miss nowadays. But it's also watch on Paramount Plus because they show the uncensored versions. Again, you see you hear the F bomb, hear stuff like that. It's hilarious. I love this show. Yeah, it's one of my new favorite shows that I'm watching. I'm currently watching. I highly recommend this show called Broad City. And now to you, my friend.
Okay, thank you. I want to recommend this movie, but I feel like you might recommended it in the past, which is That Awkward Moment.
I
Do
have
you
not.
think you
I have
have
not.
not?
All you. All you. Great movie.
Fantastic. So the movie is called That Awkward Moment, and it has, Zac Efron, Michael B. Jordan, Miles Teller, and they're three best friends who end up in relationships, and eventually it gets to a point of like, where are we going with this? Trying to figure it out. And I really do love the movie because it's great chemistry between the cast and it's really funny, and I feel like, it sort of shows like sort of think sometimes a little bit dramatic or,
It's really real.
to be,
It's real.
but it is real, like how men sort of like talk and like how we slowly try to figure things out, where we're just like, and sometimes we don't mean to like fuck up, but it's just like we're men. This is how we think. Like, this is how we process things. So I think it that really shows really well in that movie, and then it's just always just very funny. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. And then a show that I stopped watching a while ago, but I thoroughly enjoy is called The 100. It's on Netflix. What it is basically, people are like teenagers or whatever, or, that get arrested or anything like that, get sent to Earth, uh, and they never lived on Earth. Like, they only hear stories about Earth and how it is. So, they're learning how to survive, how to work together, and meeting the people that were already and the people that were already on Earth and like their culture and everything. It's a little cheesy. The acting is not always the greatest, but it does get better as time goes on. The story is pretty well. I think it's interesting. 7 seasons. Like I said, I stopped watching it a while ago, but I do remember it pretty well. So, definitely check that show out. I think, it's an interesting show. If you don't like it, understandable, but I say at least check it out at the least. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, Awkward Moment's a good one. I remember seeing that with you in high school. We were like all laughing, like having a good time with it. It's
Oh
a good
yeah,
one.
it was it still is such a great
It holds up.
movie. Yeah, like it's really good. It was funny. Miles Teller is always fucking hilarious, man. Yeah, he's always so good in movies.
Yeah,
Uh,
I want to see more Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan team ups. I think they got screwed over with Fantastic Four.
oh
Fortunately,
yeah,
they have good
highly
chemistry.
doubt. They really
Uh,
do have a good chemistry. They're both
movie
so good
sucks.
actors. They
Yeah,
both done so many movies. I feel like that me and you thoroughly love that we have
yeah,
not recommended yet. So we'll definitely get
a
more
lot
into
more to
that.
go.
Yeah, man, they've done really good movies, and I feel like Miles Teller does do a lot of movies that sort of show how men process like love and emotion, and I think he shows that, like especially in like this movie, he shows
Yeah.
it so well. Like
Oh yeah,
he translates it to an understandable process of like this is how like a lot of men are, you know?
for sure. Oh, I could not agree more. Could not agree more, my friend. Could not agree
Yeah.
more. All right, man. Take us home, my good sir.
Well, I'm gonna plug you for you. You can find our podcast on any podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, obviously, wherever you're listening. You can find our Instagram at Midway Avenue Productions. You'll see our link tree where you can several links to our YouTube, TikTok, to Nick's YouTube, to my Twitch. Um, so yeah, you can also find Doug at the Young Jones on Instagram as well, more personal. Um, so don't be afraid to hit us up. Please don't be afraid to comment on our Instagram. We'd love to hear from you guys. See your reviews, how you guys think. Have Discord with you, and also even bring up certain things that you guys feel like we might be leaving out, or something that we don't know that to definitely look into. So don't be afraid. Again, you could find my Twitch at the OG Cuban Rican. I also have but I haven't used it yet. Haven't recorded anything too well. But Payday 3 just came out today. Once the servers are back up and my homies are on, you'll see me playing that. So don't be afraid to, hop in, have a conversation with me and my homies. Yeah, that's it. Let me close this out. Thank you so much for joining us on this verbal journey through our thoughts, views, opinions, and mad ramblings that you so thoroughly enjoy. We truly do love that you guys are here on this journey with us, making this journey even possible and making it way more fun. We hope to see you guys on the next episode, listening in and under our comments and everything. Please do like, follow, and don't be afraid to share our podcast and also share your thoughts with us. We'd love to see your views. We hope you guys stay safe. Continue to not be afraid to love the movies, shows that you so much love, and to continue growing through your passion. Have a good day, afternoon, evening, or night. We love y'all. Deuces.